Welcome to Rise Unwind. Every week on our show, we bring you lifestyle tips, tricks, and more from all the people who know it best. And this week, we have this.
And also Margo.
Oh.
She's sick. Come on, she's cool.
Come on.
Icon. She's an icon. Are you kidding me? Come on now.
You're crazy.
Come on now. Phil and Margo.
Oh, wow.
There are so many people that are in relationships where they're blinded by what's actually happening because they're in a very unhealthy cycle of manipulation and lies. And I want those people to...
All that and more on Rise and Unwind.
It's been an emotional and inspiring week in Austin as more than 1,000 volunteers have come together for the 39th annual Habitat for Humanity Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter Work Project. The first since President Carter's passing. It's a huge effort to build affordable homes and to continue a legacy of service that's changed lives around the world. So joining me today are Jonathan Reckford, CEO of Habitat for Humanity International, and Michelle Anderson, CEO of Austin Habitat for Humanity, to talk about this year's build and why the need is greater than ever. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Doing great. Great to be with you.
Thank you. We are great.
Hey, Jonathan, for those who may not know, what exactly is the Carter Work Project and how does it continue to make an impact pretty much year after year?
Well, the Carter Work Project is our signature event every year to bring attention to the need for safe and affordable housing all around the world. And it started in 1984 when Habitat was a tiny organization. President and Mrs. Carter and a busload of volunteers came up from South Georgia to sleep in a church and work on rehabbing a building on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And that's when the world found out about Habitat. And that started a remarkable run of 35 years of the Carters building all over the world, raising attention to the need in building homes. And we know that the best way to honor their extraordinary legacy is to keep the work going. So we are thrilled to be here in Austin this week.
And Michelle, Austin's housing market has been challenging for years. What are some of the biggest struggles families face when trying to find affordable housing right now?
So, yes, thanks for asking. So, Austin has been just one of the top 10 growing cities over the past 10 years. So, our homeowners are outpaced. They cannot keep up with the economic increase in Habitat for Humanity. Sorry about that. So, they can't keep up with the cost of the rising homes in Austin. So, we have seen this big disparity. Our middle-income families can no longer afford to work in Austin or live and work in Austin. Our teachers, our first responders, our essential workers are having to make tough decisions, and we want to make that easier for them by providing homes that are affordable, and so everyone can have that American dream. That is what we believe in our hearts, that everyone that's working hard should have the opportunity for home ownership. We know it stabilizes families. Children get to go to neighborhood schools, families' healths are better, their education is higher, and they build generational wealth. And we, again, believe that that dream should be available for every American and every Texan working hard in Austin.
And what makes this year's project stand out from past builds, especially being the first since President Carter's passing?
Well, we do feel the pressure to deliver, and we've spent this week talking a lot about family and community and legacy. Having the Carter family here and the children shows that legacy. We've had homeowners, children come and speak about what their life has been like pre and post Habitat home. And again, you hear children that are the first generation to go to college, and now they're homeowners. So that's been passed down. We also are out on a site that is going to save our homeowners a lot of money because the utility bills are going to be less. The homes are built quality, green, and they're going to keep those costs again down for our families. We're building 25 homes in 1 week with thousands of volunteers out here. If you can hear the music of hammers behind us, we're just honored and proud to be hosting the legacy of the Carter family and to have that next generation here.
And Jonathan, Habitat has always been known for bringing people together. Why are partnerships with volunteers and corporate sponsors so critical to keeping that mission alive?
Well, we believe that the only way to solve a complex issue like housing is got to be bringing the public sector, private sector, and civil society together and working together. And I love that the middle of Habitat's mission has always been bringing people together across all kinds of divides. And we couldn't do the work without our corporate sponsors. We need the private sector to create scale. We need the counties and cities to come in and provide land and financing. And we need volunteers to come not just with their wallets, but also their muscles and their voices. Because we have the resources in this country to solve the housing problem, but we need to have the willpower.
And finally, for viewers who want to lend a hand or maybe get involved, where's the best place to go for more information or a way to support Habitat's work?
So if you go to habitat.org, you can learn about how Habitat's working in your local community, find your local affiliate, find out how you can get involved, and hopefully come join us, help us make us part of a world where everyone has a decent place to live.
Jonathan Reckford, Michelle Anderson, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Nearly half of adults in the United States have high blood pressure, and many don't even know it. The American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology just released a new high blood pressure guideline offering important updates for everyone, especially women. Joining us today is Dr. Rachel M. Bond, an American Heart Association volunteer expert, to share what women need to know at every stage of life. Welcome to the show, Dr. Bond. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
The American Heart Association recently released a new high blood pressure guideline. What do people need to know about it?
Yeah, so the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology did release a new blood pressure guideline. Things that have not changed are how we define high blood pressure. First step is understanding what's normal blood pressure. So normal blood pressure is usually anything less than 120/80. Anything above that is elevated up until we get to the first stage of high blood pressure. Those are numbers above 130/80. And then the second stage, that's usually above 140/90. The higher our blood pressure is, the higher our risk of heart disease. And why this is so critical, it's unfortunate that when it comes to high blood pressure, a lot of times there are no warning signs. There's no signs and symptoms. It's very silent. So the only way for you to understand if you have elevated blood pressure or high blood pressure is to go to the doctor and get your blood pressure checked on a regular basis.
And let's talk about blood pressure and pregnancy. What should women know during that stage of life?
One thing that the guidelines wanted to highlight was that there are different stages in a woman's life that can actually impact their blood pressure and their overall cardiovascular health. One of those stages is during pregnancy. Pregnancy, for all intents and purposes, is a female's first stress test. With the hormonal changes, a lot of times that could negatively impact their blood pressure. And if you are a patient that during your pregnancy develops high blood pressure, you're at about a 2 to 4 time greater risk of having high blood pressure outside of the pregnancy and a 2 to 4 greater risk of having cardiovascular disease outside of the pregnancy. A lot of times that could occur up to several decades after the delivery. So having those conversations with your physician and healthcare professional about your pregnancy risks as well as your more traditional risk factors can really help in the management strategies.
And what actions can women take to help minimize their risks?
So there are several. The first one is being active. We know that the American Heart Association recommends at least 150 minutes per week of some form of moderate exercise. That can include walking at a very brisk pace. They also recommend eating very clean and healthy food, limiting saturated fat, processed foods that are rich in salt or sodium, and replacing that with things like healthy fats such as olives and olive oil, and also whole grain. They also talk quite a bit about sleep. When we think about sleep, we need to ensure we're getting at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And the last thing that's so important is making sure that we're getting our numbers regularly checked. Blood pressure, cholesterol, our blood sugar, and we're also addressing with our physician what our weight is and if our weight is appropriate for our height.
So what are some simple steps anyone can start taking today to help better manage their blood pressure?
There are so many easy steps, many of which I had already listed, but I would say the easiest really is if we have an opportunity to get up and be active, let's do that. As I mentioned, that moderate exercise includes walking. So maybe using the stairs at work. If we're using public transportation, getting off at a stop a little earlier than where we normally do to encourage ourselves to get those steps in. And something also very simple is just making those minor adjustments to our nutrition as well as our overall lifestyle.
And Dr. Bond, where can our viewers go for more information?
So the American Heart Association has several websites. One of them is heart.org, and the other one is goredforwomen.org/high blood pressure. And that's really going to hone in on high blood pressure both during pregnancy and outside of pregnancy as it pertains to women's cardiovascular health.
I want to thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much.
You ever feel the phrase, fake it until you make it, and then take it a little too far. Hollywood hustler Glitz, Glam, Scam tracks about how a aspiring actor, Zach Horowitz, pulled off one of Hollywood's wildest frauds. And joining me today, our executive producer, director Rebecca Chaiklin, and Zach's ex-wife, Mallory Hagedorn. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
All right, Rebecca, you got to give us a quick snapshot. What's the true story about Zach Horowitz and what kind of made this scam so audacious?
Zach was a super charismatic, handsome young man from the Midwest who moved to Hollywood with big dreams of becoming an actor and didn't necessarily have the talent to achieve that just through his acting skills. And so he started a entrepreneurial venture, which he pretended became super successful. He raised hundreds of millions of dollars. It was all a fake business. It was a Ponzi scheme. But he was able to take the money that he was raising to start buying himself roles in films. And he recruited his most inner circle of friends, a lot of whom were successful in the finance and banking world. And they had very good resumes and were able to go out and raise him hundreds of millions of dollars for this alleged business. And ironically, his one great performance was that he was a super successful entrepreneur. It was in real life, not on screen.
Okay, Mallory, you were there when this image and the lies were kind of beginning to be built. What were the early red flags that you kind of wish you trusted?
Yeah, I think that some things I wish I would have leaned into more is whenever I would ask questions, which I asked a lot of questions, and a lot of times there were answers, receipts, paperwork, but there were, sometimes if there were ever questions and I was meant to feel like stupid, Zach was very good at making you feel stupid by asking certain questions. I wish I would have had more of a backbone back then. But I really trusted this man. I was with him for almost 12 years. I started that relationship when I was 19. I grew into a life with him. It wasn't just overnight. It was, we are two college sweethearts going into a small apartment to a little bigger apartment, small home, like those kind of things gradually were happening as we were growing in both of our careers.
And the numbers are staggering. How did Zach convince smart investors to try to buy in, and what toll did this take on the victims once it was unraveling?
Well, the toll on the victims has been devastating. There were hundreds of families who lost their entire life savings. And he was able to raise, initially, he was able to raise a lot of this money because he had this very tight knit group of friends, a lot of whom had gone to business school at Indiana University, then went on into the finance world. They had a lot of connections. They were aspirational. They were successful. And once he was able to recruit these people who all loved him and felt that he was super charismatic, they were a great calling card. They had the resumes, they had the connections, and they were able to raise him a lot of money. Zach was also incredibly clever. He always paid people back, and he paid people back on time. The money actually went into their accounts. He provided very, very sophisticated paperwork. He worked with the biggest banks in the country. He had one of the most prominent law firms representing him. So he had all the exterior infrastructure that made him look really legit.
And without spoiling too much or anything, what is a big takeaway that someone could take from this or walk away from this? Maybe from an outsider seeing the story from afar, or up close, Mallory, or from your perspective. What is something that someone at home to maybe protect themselves in the future?
Yeah, I think that a big takeaway from this is, one of the reasons I wanted to do this is to make a painful experience with something purposeful. There are so many people that are in relationships where they're blinded by what's actually happening because they're in a very unhealthy cycle of manipulation and lies. And I want those people to feel seen and that know that they're not crazy. And, you know, it happens to so many people. And I just want them to feel that can be a community around it and that they're not alone.
Hey, I want to thank you too for joining me this morning. Hollywood Hustler, Glitz, Glam, Scam is available now on Prime Video. Check out the title on Prime Video and watch the series, or check out the trailer. Hey, I want to thank you too for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Have you ever had one of those family cookouts where everyone's talking a little too loud and the cheese is flying faster than carne asada hitting the grill? Well, comedian Frankie Quinones knows that feeling a little bit too well, and he's turning that into comedy gold with his brand new Hulu special, Damn, That's Crazy. Directed by Emmy winner Ali Long. Frankie is here. Welcome to the show. You might know him from This Fool, What Do We Do in the Shadows, and Victor and Valentino. He's bringing the mix of heart, hilarity, and familia to the stage. Welcome to the show, Frankie. How are you, my friend?
Oh, good. Dad, thanks for having me, homie. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. All right, this is your first hour-long special. Okay, what made Damn That's Crazy the right moment to put your life and your comedy pretty much out there on the stage?
Yeah, man. Damn, that's crazy. You know, we say that a lot growing up around around the homies and stuff. Damn, that's crazy. But yeah, just some of the topics I touch on. I met Ali Wong a long time ago, and she obviously her career took off, multiple Emmys and stuff like that. And then we were doing some tour dates together, and she goes, "Hey, I want to produce and direct your special." And I was like, "I'd be honored." And then the timing just kind of worked out perfectly with Hulu launching this slate of comedy specials. And then we got into talks, and then, here we are. We took over a year to get the material down. And then, we recorded the special with the help of Ali Wong. We pieced together a pretty cool piece of work that I'm really proud of. So I'm excited for people to see it. So that's what's up. And damn, that's crazy.
And this special, it dives into love, addiction, and the politics of family carne asada. How much does that come straight from your own family gatherings, my friend?
Oh, yeah. I draw a lot from family. But yeah, we've been through a lot together, ups and downs. And, I kind of touch on all that, get vulnerable about a lot of stuff. And also, a lot of people can relate to any family event. In my case, it's the carne asada, which is like our barbecue, and the drama that comes with that. The tias, the aunties talking smack about each other, spreading rumors like, "Oh, your tia Rosa's potato salad doesn't have any flavor. I think she's going through something." And it's like, no, she's not. The potato salad is fine, but they always try to just stir something up. That's just an example. It's just like the drama that ensues at a family barbecue or carne asada.
Oh, yeah, I have the same, man. I have the same stories. I grew up the same way, my friends. You played some unforgettable characters from Luis and This Fool to your sketches in Get Frankie. How do you decide what parts of like real life make it into your comedy?
Yeah, I mean, nothing's off limits to me, especially when it comes to family stuff or stuff like that, because it's something that a lot of people can relate to no matter what background you're from. But yeah, I would say, the characters that I do or the voices I do or stories I do come directly from my environment or people around me or how I grew up and stuff like that. So yeah, my character Creeper, who does Cholo Fit, that came straight from my dad. He was in a lowrider car club, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's just an example of just boom. I just draw from what's right next to me, and nothing's off limits. And my family has learned to be okay with that.
And Ali Wong directed this special. What was it like collaborating with her and bringing that energy to the stage?
Yeah, you know what? It was really an honor, because obviously I've known her. We met in a laundromat / cafe where they do an open mic, because there's like a built-in audience, people waiting for their laundry. But it was so cool to see her career just take off. And then when we started working on it, I didn't know how hands-on she was going to be, and she was really hands-on. She was a huge help. She has such a great eye for things, because people are like, well, what does it mean to direct a comedy special? Yeah, most of it is just the camera setups, but it's what goes on behind the scenes before and after the taping. And she was really hands-on to help me in the editing, and then picking what frames go on what punchline, down to the details like that. And I think it really helped in the end create this super polished piece of work that is now called Damn That's Crazy. Yeah, so yeah, it was fun, man. It's really fun to work with her and watch her work and see her talents in that avenue of being a producer. Yeah, it was cool.
And you've been doing a little bit of everything, acting, stand-up, voice work. After the special, what's next for you? Any new projects you could like tease and let our audience know? I won't tell anybody. Nobody actually watches the show, so anything. No NDAs here, my friend.
No, you're all good, man. Yeah, I'm on the next the season coming up of St. Denis Medical. It premieres in November, and then I got a YouTube show called Creeper's Crib, live from my grandpa's garage. That's the first episode just came out of that, and then I got a movie coming out next year with Tom Segura, Luke Wilson, Tim Baltz, Genesis Rodriguez called El Tigre. So be on the lookout for that, and hopefully I'll be on tour in your city soon. And hope to see you there. Let's kick it.
Of course, I'll be there. You can catch Frankie Quinones. Damn, that's crazy. It's now streaming on Hulu. For more on Frankie's comedy projects or tour dates, visit frankiequinones.com or shop his Cholo Fit collection. It's available on his website, my friend. Orale! Frankie, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Dad. Appreciate it.
They're mean. They're messy. And they're absolutely unforgettable. And now, Roald Dahl's classic villains are back with a brand new twist. The Twits. It's the hilarious animated musical on Netflix where two terrible adults try to take over their town until a group of clever kids and magical animals fight back. So joining us are Margo Martindale, who voices Mrs. Twit, and Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, the voice of Bisha, one of the young heroes standing up to all of this chaos. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Oh, great.
Good.
Thank you.
Doing great.
Okay, Roald Dahl, his stories, they're always filled with like dark humor, but a lot of hearts. What was it like stepping into his world for the Twits?
It was a joyride, really.
Truly, a true joyride in the land of the Twitlandia amusement park. Very dark humor and obviously, like you said, emotional themes, but also a really nasty, grimy, gross and smelly backdrop for the Twits.
And Margo, Ms. Twit.
Yeah.
She's such a wonderfully awful
What about
character.
her?
How did you find your take on her personality and her voice and all of that?
Just follow the leader, if you know what I mean. Phil Johnson really, he was the guide for all of us, and he's a unbelievably creative, fun-loving, crazy, wonderful man. And it was like there was no limit to what we could do. To blow the top off, basically.
And Maitreyi, your character Bisha brings so much heart to the story. What did you love most about playing her?
I think truly the thing that I loved most was that she is so kind and is so good. And even her, she still can succumb and slip to being a little awful, just like a Twit. And the character arc that she has is so beautiful and is so just honest and real in a world that feels very absurd. So that juxtaposition is very appealing to me.
In the movie, it mixes some humor, some music, and a great message about teamwork. What do you hope families take away after watching this?
I just hope they take away the joy that we felt doing it, that we had doing it, and also the beauty of the animation is extraordinary, I think. And you hope maybe some people will be nicer to each other.
Yeah, a little kindness. A little kindness.
Little kindness goes a long way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of you have such diverse careers. What made the Twits stand out as something that you just definitely wanted to be part of?
Phil Johnson.
Yeah, Phil. And also Margo.
Oh.
She's sick. Come on, she's cool.
Come on.
Icon. She's an icon. Are you kidding me? Come on now.
You're crazy.
Come on now. Phil and Margo.
Oh, wow. Well, that's nice.
See, you got a little bit of love there. The Twits is now streaming on Netflix. It's the perfect pick for a family movie night full of laughs, songs, and maybe a little mischief. You can check it out now at netflix.com/thetwits. Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thank you.
What does it take to stare down a 1-ton bull and hold your ground 8 seconds at a time? In Not Her First Rodeo, we follow the real lives of elite lady bull riders, women who are rewriting the rules of rodeo and risking it all for the win. As the heart of it is 4-time world champion Jordan Halvorson, who's not just riding, she's basically leading a movement. She's here today to talk about the new docuseries, The Grit It Takes to Make It, and why this really isn't her first rodeo. Welcome to the show, Jordan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Rodeo has always fascinated me, and actually, I have my own belt. Buckle. I did ride a bull once. I fell off in the first few seconds. So this is basically a participation trophy for bull riding. So, hey, you're a 4-time world champion. Can you take us back to the beginning, like the days that you first started out? What made you get into the bull in the first place?
It honestly for me started by chance. I grew up riding hunter jumper horses, a little bit wild, a little bit smaller than some of the other riders. So I was actually riding naughty horses and ponies. And we had a buddy that said, "Hey, what do you think about riding a bull?" And I obviously said yes. And yeah, same thing. I fell off very fast the first time, but it was just more of a bucket list thing for me. And that's how I started. And I was hooked and kept going back week after week after that.
Yeah, I told the guy, how do I get a buckle? And he's like, well, you have to ride a bull. I was like, come on, man. I was trying to like catch a greased pig, go like lasso a sheep or something. Because I grew up in ranches and stuff with my family. So they stuck me on a bull. He's like, if you get on this bull in a rodeo, we'll give you a buckle. So they did this whole participation trophy thing. So I get it. I love it. This show really captures the risk and realities of the sport. What do you hope viewers take away from watching your story?
I hope they take away that, you can do anything in life. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams, push through any kind of boundaries there are and just live a life that you want to live. And
you also started your own all-women's bull riding league. What inspired that and how has that actually grown?
So they actually used to have women's rough stock riding events in rodeo, a long time ago, early 2000s and prior to that. And so when I had learned about that several years after I started riding, we had been kind of working towards bringing that back that they used to have for women to be able to compete against other women in the sport of bull riding.
And how do you go about mentally preparing doing bull riding each time? I was scared as hell, but how do you go about doing it because you know what's at stake?
I just think about the challenge, think about what I've got to work through. And for me, all the preparation that goes in beforehand helps me mentally. If I feel physically ready, mentally ready, like it helps every time I go to get on.
And the show also highlights, it's not just a sport, but kind of like a sisterhood. What has the community of women in bull riding meant to you?
We all have our different struggles and you can always learn something from another woman, whatever they're going through. And, whether that be in our riding or in our everyday life, we've just learned to, help each other out and grow as we grow in this sport.
Jordan Halvorson, thanks for joining me this morning. You got to catch Not Her First Rodeo. It's a new 6-part docuseries from ABC News Studios, premiering on Freeform with 2 back-to-back episodes. Then you can binge the whole full series on Hulu. Thanks for joining me this morning, Jordan.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching Rise Unwind. Please visit us on our website at riseunwindtv.com. Follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube at Rise Unwind. And thanks for tuning in. You take care. We'll see you next week.